I'm Miss Mila Rose and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am telling you another story from my Storytime series. Today we are picking up with the start of 12th grade, my senior year in high school, my last year in high school. But before we get into today's story time, let's give you a brief recap as to what happened in the last episode. In the last episode, I was spending time with my friend Brittany throughout the summer. I had moved in with her and we had many summer adventures. And then her older sister had convinced her parents, her mother particularly, to let me live with them. And I was beyond stoked, but also like so grateful that they accepted me into their family, like truly as one of them. If you saw last episode and you thought this episode is literally all over the place, it's bouncing off the walls, literally, that was my life during that summer break. Like, it was very bouncing off the wallsy. Like, literally, we had to go to Home Depot to get things to fix the wall because my friend Brittany had put a hole through her wall because we were climbing around in her apartment on the walls. And we did not want her parents to come home from their vacation and see a hole in the wall, so we had to do some home improvement by ourselves and fix that situation. It was a great time. It was very sporadic, very chaotic, very unplanned, very unorganized, and yet it was some of the best memories of my life. Even though now I am a very organized individual, I just really appreciated the chaotic nature of that whole summer mess. However, again, the chaotic nature that took place at home where I lived growing up was not the chaos that I personally enjoy. I don't think anyone enjoys that kind of chaos. But anyways, moving forward, let's get into today's episode, starting off with entering into 12th grade. Now, in the first semester, we were taking gym class together. It was our first class in the morning, and she wanted me to take it with her because she couldn't get into any other additional classes because they were all like full except for gym class. So I did end up taking that one with her. So she had a friend, and I really enjoyed fitness, and I was really trying to lose weight. You guys, I went up to 160 pounds from like 122, and again, my whole, like, my low weight was 107 pounds to 168. That's a huge jump of weight in like half a year span. So the way I was trying to lose weight was by restricting calories. I was calorie depriving myself. I think I might have been averaging at like 400 or 500 calories a day for most days. I was spending like 2 to 3 hours in the Humber after school every single day religiously trying to walk and run off this weight. I was trying to work out a little bit in the apartment with some floor work because I didn't want to like do jumping jacks and things like that because we were in an apartment and it was a very tiny space in the office that I had to work with. So I was trying to do a little bit of exercises, but I didn't have much to work with. So I was going out into the Humber after school to do my exercises. Now, I was doing calf raises in the apartment, and I remember I did like 3 minutes of calf raises back-to-back 2 days, and after the second day, I destroyed my calves so much that I could no longer plant my heel on the floor, and I was kind of walking like a dinosaur. They took me to the doctors, and he just literally was like, here's some Tylenol 3s. I hope you rest up and get better soon. I remember this one guy, he did work part-time doing construction work, and I mentioned I had T3s, and he was like, yo, can I have them? Like, my back is always hurting. T3s help so much. And I'm like, honestly, the only reason why I was using T3s to begin with was I tried them a couple times to see if they helped me sleep. They numb your body, not your brain. So they did not help me in the slightest. And honestly, even though they did help with like a physical discomfort, I wasn't really having physical pain in my legs, in my calves. I just couldn't plant my heel down on the ground. I don't remember how long this lasted. It was probably like 2 weeks, but I gave this guy my bottle of T3s and he was very grateful for that. Now, one of my afternoon classes that I was taking was art class, and art is something that not only I know I'm going to get straight A's in that class easily because I excel in art. Ashley was also in that class with me. She specifically wanted me to take art with her because she wanted me to help her get a high grade as well. I don't remember how much that really helped her get a high grade. And as I said before, Ashley wasn't really part of the drama. She didn't really place anywhere in the friend group. She kind of jumped around. She was hanging out with the guys. She would hang out with Marie sometimes. She would hang out with me and Brittany sometimes. Actually, a lot of times after school, Ashley would try and get into contact with Amy because she was now going to a different school, and she was trying to get her to meet us after school so we could hang out. I remember Amy would always make excuses and not show up and say that she like passed out on the bus or something. I don't know how accurate those stories were, but Amy was just very absent during this time. 12th grade art class was a blast. And because Brittany had a spare when I had art class, a lot of the times she would actually just come and hang out with me in art class. And my teacher was okay with it. I want to call my teacher Mrs. P here, but honestly, she's not anything special, but she was really like scatterbrained and she did lose track of a lot of things. I didn't really like Mrs. P, and I think a lot of people felt similarly. Also, I have to note that there is a kid in this class that I was mad crushing on. He did not hang out with my friends, but since Brittany liked to devise plans and strategies, she was very excited to try and devise strategies for me to hook up with this guy. This guy was a very like skater boy-y look kind of guy. I don't even know why I was crushing on him, but I was. Honestly, I think I was just looking for someone to crush on at this time. I really knew nothing about this kid. I knew nothing about Ryan either, who was no longer in existence because again, like I was not interested in him at all. I just wanted to be interested in someone. I think it's because like I was really missing the relationship that I had with Jesse at this time. I mean, from the time that we'd broken up, few years later, like I had constantly wondered if I'd made the right choice. Did I regret my decision? And honestly, I always sat kind of in the middle of like, I don't know. I don't know if I made the right decision. And I do want to be in a relationship because I did really enjoy the positive experiences that I had with Jesse and how I felt. Because this was 12th grade, this was a time where we were getting to go on school trips to see other schools that we may be interested in attending when we graduated high school. I remember a specific conversation that I had with my friend Ashley. She was asking me, what am I going to be when we go to college? What do you want to be? What are you going to school for? And I didn't really know, honestly. I knew I had to figure it out fast, but I really didn't know. At first, I was dead set on becoming a veterinarian technician. I was very hesitating about becoming one simply because of the whole idea of blood and being so cringy about it. Like I remember in 7th grade, like we went to the science Museum of Toronto and I was just so disturbed by like the gallons of blood that they had on like the top shelf in this one area. And so I didn't know if I could even handle that. And like also I'd played like a simulated veterinarian game from Scholastics when I was in middle school too, and I'm like, blood scares me. It freaks me out. And like even in anime, like watching Naruto Shippuden and like some of those fights, I was just like, oh, I can't handle all this gore. And horror movies too, like the gore, like I couldn't handle seeing blood like that, like wounds and things. And like knowing I would have to work with them and touch them, like I didn't know if I could do it. And then honestly, after failing chemistry, like that was it. Like I was like, I'm not being a vet tech, like that's not happening. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to be? Now I was really into health and nutrition and food, so I was thinking maybe a dietitian. And then my friend Ashley was like, well, how much does a dietitian make? And I can't remember, I think I might have said somewhere like 40K a year, I think was the median. And she's like, that's not enough. You need a higher paying job than that. Be someone else. Like, she literally told me, like, pick something else, like, kind of in a bullying way. Like, honestly, that was kind of her demeanor, but I'm kind of happy that she did, because otherwise I probably would have gone for a dietitian. Instead, I did research on art things, and my mother was always like, you're never gonna make money doing art, but like that was always one of the passions that I had. So I was trying to look into things I could do with art, and I discovered 3D art, and I had no idea anything about doing 3D art, just knowing that obviously like 3D art exists because of video games and stuff. And so I was like, what about a 3D animator? Because I like animation. And my friend Ashley asked me, what's the medium that they make? And I think I said $60K a year. And she said, that's fine. You can be a 3D animator. And so since I was having so much fun in art class, and that's really where I shine, I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna be a 3D animator. So we are going to these schools and checking out different art schools around Toronto, and I'm getting application forms, and I'm also on the internet exploring different schools that I can go to. And there's this one school in Vancouver that specialized in 3D arts and animation, and I applied to them. Now, lo and behold, I get contacted by the representative people at the school in Vancouver, this art school, and they're very happy to accept me into their school. Like, I already am getting a pre-acceptance into this school. So they're like, okay, here is how you're going to apply. And they give me all of the information to apply to this art school. I'm so sorry, my battery was literally just about to die, so I had to take a pause and change my battery. Let me continue with this story time. So I was told by the people, the representatives, the secretaries, whatever you call them, I don't remember their name, administrators, administrative office people, workers, at this school, this art, 3D animation and art school in Vancouver, that I could get a scholarship to help me go to this school. I was given all the information on how to apply and what I needed to provide to them. They wanted to see a variety of art pieces. I think one was a character sheet. One was, I don't even remember what it was, but I ended up making like a digital looking cat. I don't even remember what that one was supposed to showcase. They wanted me to showcase something like a real-time environment. So I submitted like a sketch that I had done back when I lived at home, but I had like digitalized it and put textures all over like the walls and the carpets and things like that to make it look a little bit more authentic. The character sheet was an anime girl. I had a whole name and story time for her and bio for her. I had some facial expressions, and I had a couple rotations of her in this character sheet. And I think that was it. 3 art piece submissions. I might have also had links to some of my social media that I had art on display. I had a YouTube channel and a DeviantArt with some other works of art that I had done, including animations and other things. And I really did try hard on these, and I really wasn't expecting anything. There was obviously a limited supply of scholarships they were handing out. They had larger ones and they had smaller ones. I ended up getting a $5,000 scholarship to go to this school. I was contacted by the administrative office. The workers told me that you have been accepted to the school and you were accepted on scholarship with a $5,000 scholarship. And I was not just stunned and ecstatic, but also mildly terrified. Now, this was the first school that had accepted me. Honestly, the only school that had accepted me. I don't actually think I ended up applying anywhere else because of how fast this acceptance was, but I didn't know how this would work since it would be in Vancouver. For anyone of you who know Canada at all, Vancouver is on the opposite side of the continent. Ontario is on the far east, and Vancouver in British Columbia is on the far west. So I kind of just sat on that scholarship acceptance for a minute. Meanwhile, I'm attending class, I'm doing my school thing, I'm trying to lose weight. I have this whole bet with my friend Brittany, because I like to go on water fasts. I'm like, I'm gonna do a really long water fast. I'm gonna get the health benefits, I'm gonna lose more weight. I told her I was gonna do a 10-day water fast. I only lasted 9 days, so I technically lost the bet. What I lost it on, we actually went to go see a school, and I ended up getting a meal, and I had leftovers in my locker, and she saw the leftovers. So the bet was off and I had lost it, and what I was supposed to do for the bet was to eat meat, and some Serbian meat specifically. She did let me off the hook, thankfully. But I did lose that bet. I think I lost like 21 pounds in the 9 days that I was water fasting, which was insane. I was dropping weight really fast. I mean, I was working out. Like, I was refusing rides from Brittany just so I could walk to school and get some extra cardio in, walk back with heavy backpack load on, everything, going after school on long walks around the ravine, the Humber. I was still doing this routinely and in the apartment doing some exercises in the office as well. Not to the extreme that I was going to get myself injured again. I did not want to walk like a dinosaur again. So Brittany knew I was accepted to the school, and so her mother and her sister-in-law also knew, and they were talking about it, and they were trying to talk to me and encourage me to go. And obviously I was scared and nervous and wasn't sure. Like, I knew I couldn't stay with this family. Like, my goal was to live in dorms or something, like post 12th grade. Like, I didn't want to stay with them long term because I didn't want to burden them, taking up space and taking up their resources, their food, their supplies, their whatnot, and be a financial burden. I mean, they never had any complaints of the sort, and they were so mothering and nurturing. Like, honestly, a lot of the times I was waking up like pretending to still be asleep, but being cognitive enough. Like, the mother would like put blankets on me like in the morning. Like, she was so motherly and nurturing, and like it felt so caring, and it was nice. But I knew I couldn't stay there, right? Like, I needed to move on with my life and make something of myself and not be a burden on them. So I knew I needed to stay somewhere outside of their apartment. I just didn't know how I felt about going across the country, because that is a huge step, especially since I knew literally no one in Vancouver. However, they had conversations with me and they talked me into potentially going on a trip with Brittany to Vancouver via the truck drivers, because they always have loads that they're taking towards Vancouver. So we were gonna go with her family on a free ride. We were going to be paying for our flight back and also hotel there, so I could go check out the school, because when I was accepted to the school, I was asked if I wanted to do like an open house thing before the start of the school year. And so I guess, I don't know what it was just me knowing that this was what I had to do. So I was like, yes, okay, we'll do it. I'll go. We'll go take a trip down there and check it out, and I'll go to the school. And so we started planning out this trip that we were going to go on for during the winter break. I remember getting back to art class, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Mrs. P here again. I don't remember if it was a Miss or a Mrs., but we'll go with Mrs. I remember she didn't seem all that happy for me when she found out that I got a scholarship to go to this school in Vancouver. Honestly, it felt almost like a surprise. Like, really? Like, you're good enough to get a scholarship to go there? Like, she didn't really like me, Mrs. P. There were some weird vibes I was getting. I almost picked up some sort of like a, well, I should have had this in my life. Who do you think you are to be able to get this in your life? That's kind of the vibe that I got with her. Like, I don't know. It was weird. All of the students were really happy for me and proud of me, and there was this one classmate that I had. He was like purely like a classmate friend. He had confided in Brittany that he may have feelings for me, and I friend zoned this guy. I was not interested in this guy. And so I remember this one day he did ask me to go to the movies with him, or he was trying to. I remember he was trying to ask me out to go to the movies with him, and I knew he was doing it and that it was coming because Brittany had confided in me that he had told her that he had feelings for me, or that he liked me. And so I like cut him off when he was trying to ask me to go to the movies with him and stopped him mid-sentence so he couldn't finish his question and acted like all ADHD and like completely made a 180 on the conversation. And to this day, like, I don't regret that at all because A, I did not want to turn this guy down. It's always been really hard for me to break someone's heart or like say no to someone. So I think that was probably the nicest way I could have done it. In a way, it's like he never got rejected, but if he understood enough of the context of that situation, he knows it was gonna be a no. So I felt like I was protecting him. I felt like he was protecting him and also protecting our friendship because I didn't want that bridge to break, but I also did not want to be put in the situation where I actually did have to reject him. You know what I mean? So that did happen. Also, with the whole situation of the kid that I did have a crush on in this class, we did have a group project that we were working on together, and I think Brittany became really good friends with his friend, like kind of, and they had like a lot of conversations because she thought he was funny. So those two like kind of both tried a little bit to get us to click and connect. It never happened. Honestly, I don't mind. I don't even know, like I knew absolutely nothing about this kid other than the fact that I was trying to crush on someone, like as I said. So it didn't really go anywhere. There were some cutesy moments that happened here and there. It never went anywhere. We never hit it off. We never really clicked and connected. But I'm gonna leave this story time here for now. In the next episode, I am going to be talking all about my adventure in Vancouver. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. I think it was a little less sporadic and chaotic and made a little bit more linear sense. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below, turning on that notification bell so you don't miss my next video coming very soon. I am very excited to continue telling you my story times. My story times moving forward here on out are going to include lots of romance, dating, heartbreak, depression, excitement, travel, adventure, all the things and all the feels, with zero disclaimers needed. To all the troopers out there who really stuck with my story times up until this point, you are amazing, and I really hope to continue my story time and sharing my stories with you throughout the rest of my adventures, through the rest of high school and college and beyond. But that's it for me today, and I'll see you next time with my next story. Bye for now!